All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome. Happy December. Thank you for joining us for our final webinar of the year. I know we have done quite a few this year, so thank you. We've had some people that have shown up to every single one, so we really appreciate our big cheerleaders. Some of them are on this call. You can see their faces, our advisory council, Todd, Travis, and Keith. So Todd, Travis, Keith, and Dhiren, thank you for joining us today. Before we get into the content, let me go over some quick housekeeping. First is that this is a Zoom webinar, so this is being recorded. Please take note of that. If you have questions, suggestions of things you might want to see in 2025, fun comments, want to recall your favorite webinar or DTUC activation or Dell Technologies product that came out this year, put it in the chat. This is a end of year kind of fun. We're having fun just talking about everything that had happened in this pretty crazy year of 2024 with a lot of great stuff. Right, and have fun. This is it for the year. I'm definitely relieved. I know you guys have heard a lot and seen a lot of me, so I'm happy that this is the last one of the year. And as always, we do have that survey at the end of it. 2 lucky survey participants will be randomly selected for a $25 Amazon gift card. That survey will help us make programming for 2025. So please give us your feedback. Let us know what you want to hear. That's the form to do it. You can also do it on this webinar, and we will take note of that to help plan for the year ahead. On that note, we do have 2 webinars in the works already for January 28th and January 30th. Stay tuned to your emails for more information coming out about those 2. But without further ado, no one is here really to listen to me anymore. Like I said, you've had plenty of me throughout the year, so I'm going to pass it off to Dhiren. Dhiren, take it away.
Awesome. And, just going back to that picture, I should have the advisory council above me because, it's our customers there and I should be, towards the bottom. But to everyone that's taken the time to dial in, we're at 58 people right now. Hopefully that number continues to climb up. Calendar year 24. So this year, we certainly appreciate the ongoing partnership with all of you in the DTUC community, as well as the Trusted Tester program. I would be remiss if I didn't call that out. Super exciting year. I'm going to share my screen in just a few moments and go through some of the content that maybe this team has seen, either through other webinars or forums like that. But as we look to the future, given it's December 10th, right around the corner, it is holiday season. So earlier, I do have my holiday shirt ready to go. I do often my wardrobe will correlate to sometimes the time of year and things like that. But for real, 2025 is around the corner, which means, hey, if you've been with Dell a while, launch season is upon us. We got a lot going on from a portfolio standpoint, so there will be some action. Let's get NDAs signed on file. Reach out to your Dell account team. We'd love to go through what's coming on. So the purpose of today is to talk, backwards about kind of what's gone on from a portfolio standpoint, what you've seen in calendar year 24, and we'll jump in. So hopefully you are seeing the screen. Let's make sure. I think we are good now. Give me a thumbs up. Anyone, everything looking good? Awesome. Todd's giving me the thumbs up. So, my name is Dhiren Patel. I'm one of the client technologists here at Dell, basically an expert on end user computing. I am on social platforms. Feel free to check me out. Todd, I know you're going to talk to that, but I won't take any of that away. So AI, right? If I were to poll my fellow presenters, right? Todd, Travis, Keith, they're probably going to nod their heads profusely saying, hey, they have AI initiatives, some shape or form. I know Keith has been on previous webinars to talk about the incredible work that he's doing with, his organization. But folks, give me some feedback in the chat. Are you working on AI initiatives? Are you exploring what AI could do from a business standpoint? I love the interaction. I am looking at the chat, so feel free to give me some feedback here. Digital twins, awesome. So that real mixed with virtual. I love to see that, Anupam. Anyone else? And I'm not going to spend too much time here, but what we're seeing from an organization standpoint, I have the privilege to talk with customers across the country. Really, we're seeing a lot of organizations and people harnessing AI, but that comes with, a double-edged sword, right? Am I using my phone and leveraging things like ChatGPT or any of the other, public AI models and putting confidential material in there? Maybe you're not. Maybe you have a gated instance of, Microsoft Copilot from a O365 standpoint that's on your domain, and you don't necessarily need to worry about that. But a lot of the organizations that I've been talking to, they're thinking about, hey, what kind of policy am I going to set up around AI? How we're going to implement that? And what does that actually do from an end user perspective? Kevin's talking about AI national meeting 35 years ago, right? And that feedback is spot on. AI isn't new. It's been in the industry for a very long time, just through different forms. Anupam's talking about metaverse, edge intelligence, different facets of engineering. So we're seeing, some of the audience here working on some AI initiatives, which is great. So Travis, you're knee deep in Copilot at the moment. That's awesome, right? And then leveraging Dell services. So, there's definitely some synergies there where our hardware from this year can help you out, but also the partnership that you have with Dell services there. We're seeing Aaron talk about large language models and Copilot. So definitely very relevant to the discussion that we're going to have. So, for folks that have been around long enough, right, you'll know that Dell is laser focused on end user experience. And how I typically like to call this out to our customers is really there's three key areas where we are focused on. The first is delighting the end user, and that's all of you, people that are using the products, organizations, the IT team, your executives, right? All about that front of screen experience. And when you look at some of the products from this year, you're going to see AI innovation, and I'll touch on what that is in a few moments. But we're really focused on delighting the end user. The next area where we're seeing how Dell is prioritizing that end user experience, it's really all about that simplification of IT. So Travis, you talked about Dell services a little earlier, our services umbrella helping you from a factory deployment perspective, taking a step further, right? How we secure our devices. Our devices are intrinsically secure. And how I like to explain that is how security is built into the device, built on the device, and how we build our devices with security in mind. So talking about the latter part, building with security, right? This is all about how we work with our supply chain, how we manufacture our products, how our components, how you can actually validate the security of those components, how we build in security, whether it's things like Safe ID, a dedicated spot away from the processor where end user credentials are stored. Safe BIOS, it means to validate whether or not that BIOS is the same version that shipped from factory. And then the built-on story, it's all about the ecosystem, your security vendors, your AV agents, but from a Dell Technologies standpoint, things like SecureWorks and whatnot. Then comes the deployment piece. I touched on services, but we also have Dell Client Command Suite to help you support, manage, configure, and update your products there. Sustainability, that third pillar, and this is really about our devices, right? So from an organization standpoint, we've set out some really ambitious 2030 moonshot goals. For every product we sell, we will reuse or recycle a like product. Over 50% of product contents made from recycled renewable material, and 100% of packaging also made from recycled renewable material. So if you've seen any of our products this year, you'll know that, hey, with our Latitude and Precision portfolio of products, we're already at that 100% recycled renewable material. And just grabbing a box, I didn't have it behind, but if you look, you've probably seen these that can go directly in the recycling bin, right? You use one of these. So we've come a long way. In summary there, right, those three key pillars: delighting the end user, simplifying IT, and advancing sustainability there. So we will keep going. So AI Factory, anyone heard of Dell's AI factory, it was definitely announced. We did a lot of communications around how we are really advantaged from an end-to-end perspective. So we're seeing some feedback there. You know, some of the folks have seen it. That's great. But we're really in what we call another industrial revolution. And if you think about a traditional factory, your inputs and outputs. If you think about the inputs, think about your raw materials there. If you think about the outputs, it's the goods that you're going to sell, you're going to build to, and you know, expedite there. From a technology perspective, how you can think about this, the inputs, these would be referred to as the data, right? The lifeblood of any organization. You are absolutely focused on protecting the integrity of the data there. If I think about the outputs, right? Think about the use cases. Now, Travis, you talked about large language models and Copilot. Anupam, you talked about digital twins. These are some of the use cases, and let's go back a slide for a sec. These are some of the use cases, the outputs on your initiatives there. In the middle area, that's really where Dell Technologies is advantaged. So if you think about services, we can help you with your AI strategy, how you look at data, how you look at some of the platforms, the use cases, as well as you look at how we're advantaged from a back-end perspective, help you scale that. From an ecosystem perspective, sometimes I would be wearing my NVIDIA I am AI shirt, and that's really about the partnership, how we deal with, you know, the models, the solutions, the different frameworks there, but we can help you with those applications there. And then the infrastructure. Now, my colleagues on the back end side, the infrastructure solutions group, they can talk to you ad nausea about background servers, data, servers, storage, networking, compute, all of that. But really where we come in line is the endpoint story. And you're hearing a lot more about client devices there. And we will keep rolling, just checking the chat briefly there. Any questions on what you're seeing here? Key thing you want to walk away with is we are significantly advantaged for all things AI, and our portfolio is extremely broad. So client devices. Now, from a Dell Technologies standpoint, this year, you probably heard a lot about the terms AI PC, AI workstations, and Dell Copilot Plus PCs. So starting at the bottom, Copilot Plus PCs, our friends at Microsoft created a brand new category of PCs that they've termed, you know, Copilot Plus PC. And I'll walk you through what those requirements are. Dell AI PCs, right? We launched our brand new portfolio this year, and I'll touch on some of the highlights in just a few moments. But the key thing here is you'll see PCs now with a built-in neural processing unit. Our friends at Microsoft enforced, and this is, I'll just turn off my background just for a few minutes, just because I want to show you what's happening from a Copilot perspective. Let's go turn that off, and I will turn it back on. But you're now going to see the keyboards change, right? That AI PC or Copilot Plus PC is going to have that Copilot key directly on the keyboard there. Put on the background again. But you're seeing a ton of innovation in that landscape. And really, that's some of the highlights that you're seeing there. AI workstations. This is all about the development use case around AI development. So our precision workstations are significantly advantaged to help customers that are doing any type of AI development there. So traditional computing, for anyone, you know, that's been in the industry long enough, you'll know, hey, we had the CPU and the GPU. This year, you started hearing a lot about the neural processing unit. Folks, give me some feedback in the chat. Are you ordering systems today with the neural processing unit? Have you played around with any of the AI optimization? And I'll wait for some comments to roll in. But that neural processing unit is basically a dedicated low-power AI engine to optimize performance, optimize battery life. So in the scenario where, you know, I previously had blurred out my background, I could push that task directly to the NPU, and the net result would, you're going to see better battery life, better performance, lower CPU utilization. So John's talking about his XPS. Users have loved them. Awesome. That's good to see that you are seeing some adoption there. But quick little reminder, just because the chat wasn't blowing up as I anticipated, saying, hey, I'm going all in from an NPU perspective. It's the best thing since sliced bread. But what is an NPU? We talked a lot about this this year. So now from a task manager perspective, you are going to see Intel AI Boost if you are using anything with Intel from a Meteor Lake perspective, Intel Core Ultra Series 1 that launched this year. But if you are exploring ARM architecture, our Qualcomm Snapdragon products there, you're going to see that NPU there, that Hexagon NPU. So now, as the independent software vendors write code to leverage the NPU, you're now going to see what we've termed that XPU strategy. It could move to the XPU. It could move to the CPU, GPU, or NPU. That's what we mean by that. So, something to pay attention to. If you haven't already started testing this hardware, please, please, please reach out to your Dell account team. They can get seed units, try and buys out the door to help you with some of that validation. So I talked about the NPU just a few minutes ago, what it does from a video collaboration standpoint. When you look at what you're seeing on screen, Windows Studio effects. So if I actually went to do kind of that blurring of background, I could actually push that to my NPU there, and you'd see system utilization from a CPU standpoint get pushed to that NPU. So as more vendors write code in their software to leverage the NPU, as an industry, we will continue to evolve and see greater adoption of that neural processing unit. Jeff Clark just this past week launched his blog highlighting some of the 5 key areas around some of the innovation and some of the highlights. AI PCs are one of the big predictions, right? You're going to see a big adoption curve as time goes on. So you'll have to, get some units into your hands and take a look at them and go validate that for yourself to see how your environment is going to start adopting that. And we can certainly help you with that. So next piece, right? When you think about Microsoft and what they're doing with regards to Windows 10, big focus this year. We all know it's going to go end of life, October 2025. You can purchase what they've called ESU, which is extended security updates. It's different. That's just security. It's still going end of support, right? So your bare minimum, if you purchase into that extended security updates, you will get security patching, those mission critical things. But now's the time to start evaluating. If you haven't already, get to Windows 11, right? There's a lot of advantages from a productivity standpoint perspective, from a security landscape. Give me feedback in the chat again. Are you actively deploying Windows 11 today? Or are you stuck on Windows 10? Where are you on your journey there? We'll go back to that slide. Okay, Windows 7 for the win. I hope that's a joke. Anthony, I just met with a customer a few weeks ago. We were on site and I was passing through the train station and I saw a kiosk with Windows XP screensaver. So I did one of these facepalm moments, but we know there is some applications that, could be corner case where you have to isolate these off the network because of the security concerns there. Kevin's saying, hey, 75% Windows 10, 25-ish Windows 11. Timothy, he's talking about just starting deploying Windows 11. Brad giving me some feedback there in the chat, 95% Windows 10. So, you're seeing the big spectrum, right? And this is the community giving us direct feedback saying, hey, I'm not 100% all into Windows 11. So, if you do need help with that, we certainly have capabilities from a Dell Technologies standpoint, whether it's our services realm. If you're worried about application compatibility issues, please, please, please reach out to Microsoft. Their app advisory arm can help you on that journey. There's 99 point, I believe, 4% compatibility. Windows 11 is really just a backbone of Windows 10 with an overlay and skin to Windows 11. I've probably, simplified it drastically, but we got a customer saying, 100% Windows 11. That's awesome, right? So you're, on the opposite end. So we're seeing kind of that spectrum. Very, very, very important thing to keep in mind there. And we've been talking a lot about that. So now some of the highlights, right? And for those of you that have Spotify, you probably went through your Wrapped just last week. We had posted this on our Twitter account just a few days ago. I had a pretty good chuckle. So, if you're familiar with Spotify and Wrapped, your top artist, your top songs, your number of listening minutes, we Dellified that. So, it's holiday season. We got to have some fun here. Go check out this post if you haven't seen it. We'll start off, towards the beginning of the year in typical Dell fashion. We talked about our announcements, and I don't expect you to read anything on the slide. Jack can send a whole bunch of links that will highlight some of these blog posts, but I'll give you the Coles notes because I do want to give Todd, Keith, and Travis some time to go through their perspectives. And it's not just the Dhiren show here, but from a precision workstation standpoint, hey, on the mobile workstation side, we launched our brand new 3000 and 5000 series. We also launched our brand new 3000 series fixed workstations, whether it's the compact, the small form factor, or the tower there. From a Latitude perspective, you've been on some webinars where, we've talked a bit about our new detachable tablet, right? Over here, we'll stay in frame so my background doesn't mess it up. But, we launched one of our brand new detachable tablets, and really this is replacing hardware that's existed for a few generations now. So a lot of innovation came through. With this, you heard about that NPU, the neural processing unit, and what that means. So 2 blogs, we can certainly take a look at it, but Latitude Precision. You heard about our Copilot Plus PCs. Now, the community, definitely a big partnership with Intel. So I do have to highlight all of the awesome things that we're doing from an Intel perspective. But you saw, silicon diversity with Qualcomm Snapdragon, first to market from a Copilot Plus PC perspective. We got one of them right here. This would be the Latitude 7455. We do have a 5000 series. But, if you've heard on recent webinars there, Lunar Lake, so the XPS products. So Lunar Lake, definitely on the consumer side, we've started talking about that. But as we get into next year, you're going to hear a lot more around Copilot Plus PCs and what Intel's doing in this space. Microsoft, again, changed the keyboard. After 30 plus years, you're going to see the Copilot key there. They've mandated, hey, if you're using a Copilot Plus PC, you're going to need an NPU with 40 plus TOPS. And that is trillions of operations per second. If we go to the next little area there, system requirements for a Copilot Plus PC, hey, 16 gigs of memory, 256 gig SSD. But these are things that you're going to start to plan in your environment there. In this same blog post, we highlighted 2 new peripheral items. So our brand new silent keyboard and mouse. I use one of these full time. I love it. It's quiet. If you're working in a public setting where you have keyboard warriors that are making a lot of noise, hey, give them a hint. Provide them with one of these. These are really, really silent there. And as a longtime user of our collaboration keyboard with, our meeting controls, I'm in a Zoom meeting, so you're actually seeing them light up. We created the wired version of this keyboard, and it's really based on feedback from all of you, as well as the customers we support. Hey, we want that wired connection there. So definitely highlighting some of the small things there. There was a comment a little earlier about the headsets. So our headset portfolio expanded. You saw the 3000, 5000, and 7000 series headsets. So a lot of good stuff from a portfolio standpoint. More storytelling when you look at our brand new rugged clamshell devices. So just a couple of weeks ago, we started talking about our new clamshell devices. So the Dell Pro Rugged 13-inch and Dell Pro Rugged 14-inch, semi-rugged, fully rugged. If you've didn't know Dell plays in the rugged space, we certainly do. We have you covered. And I like to kind of tell our customers, hey, if you have dirt on the ground or concrete or open air ecosystem, you need a rugged device, right? Something that's durable, can withstand the harsh elements. We've probably done webinars talking about, our 10-inch tablet, our 12-inch tablet, but now we have two brand new rugged devices, the Dell Pro Rugged 13 and Dell Pro Rugged 14. There wasn't a blog on this, but I'd be remiss if I didn't highlight that as part of the announcements there. More AI PCs. So again, this is a little bit of a year in review there. So if you don't want to take my word for it, there's a great blog by Saba Presla, who talked about what is an AI PC, how that kind of fits in. Our colleague, Maria Rentanabu, one of our messaging leads from all things AI PCs, we've launched some brand new Dell validated designs as it relates to AI development and leveraging the NPU. So we know this is a journey where you're future-proofing your investment by purchasing hardware with that NPU. If you wanted to see examples of how that NPU could be leveraged, we have GitHub code that you can go download if you have any AI developers in your organization, looking at image search or retrieval augmented generation, so creating some of the chatbot and things like that. And lastly, we've talked a lot today about AI. I probably said it 30 times. Maybe someone in the chat's counted how many times, I physically mentioned it. All jokes aside, we talk a lot about personas. And if you've done business with Dell long enough, and I'm sure there's folks that have been there, we've gone through an evolution here. Many years ago, we used to talk about, hey, the corridor warrior, someone riding elevators all day, the on-the-go pro, someone that's in airplanes. Think about your executives, desk-centric worker, remote worker. Seeing a couple of head nods from the community here, which means, hey, they remember I'm jogging people's memories. But towards the start of the pandemic, we started talking about our personas. Hey, there was the builder, the connector, the specialist, the producer. Work was no longer based on where you are. It was really focused around outcomes and the type of work that you were doing. But then, the pandemic, we saw audio video collaboration wreak havoc on systems. And we started talking a lot about the power user, someone that multitasks on multiple applications using, Teams, Zoom, maybe has, Power BI, Outlook open. And we saw a big push around discrete graphics. But now we are in an era around AI PCs and using that neural processing unit, that NPU. We like to talk about our persona story in two folds. One, from a development standpoint, this is all about the AI builders. Think about your AI developers. And that's really our Dell Precision Workstations. You think about this guy over here. This is our 7960 tower. We can put 4 NVIDIA class 6000 GPUs in there, each GPU with 48 gigs of VRAM. Multiply that by 4. You can do a ton of AI development on a system like that. Do your training, do your development, do your iteration, then propagate into the data center there to get your backend models working. Our precision mobile workstations, absolutely a great fit to help our customers on that journey. But you're also going to hear about the AI knowledge worker, AI end user. These are all the same, but these are carrying a latitude, professional device there, carrying a precision, all about performance there. These are going to be using, your devices with that NPU, with that Copilot key. And then within there, you could see a subset of Copilot Plus PCs and AI PCs. So definitely, I know it's an earful. We've talked a lot about what we've seen this year. Parting messages before I turn it back to Jack, who will take us through the next section here. Know that we certainly appreciate all of the time that the community has invested with Dell from an enablement perspective, using the messaging forums, taking part in the Trusted Tester program. We certainly appreciate that, but also influencing Dell in your corporate environment, the partnership that we have there is certainly revered on our side from a Dell technology standpoint. As we get into the holiday season, please be well, stay safe, and I'll throw it back to you, Jack, to bring us home here with some of the other topics on the agenda.
Thank you, Dhiren. Really appreciate it. And if anybody has more questions for Dhiren, please feel free to put them in the QA or the chat. Dhiren's going to hang out with us for a little bit, so he'll be able to answer those if you think of them. But in the meantime, I am going to switch over to our advisory council, and we're going to talk about our in-person activations this year. So our first one of the year was at Dell Tech World. Todd, Keith, Travis, I know you were all there. Todd, we'll start with you. Tell me a little bit about your experience at Dell Tech World, what you think, how we've improved year over year, and what you might want to see from us at Dell Tech World next year.
Yeah, thanks, Jack. Just before I get started, I just want to give a shout out to Dhiren. If you guys haven't had a chance, check out his YouTube channel. He does a great job doing Dell unboxing and Dell explanation of a lot of Dell products. He does a phenomenal job. I'm actually subscribed. So just a shout out to Dhiren. Thank you for everything that you do for the community, that you've done for DTUC. We really appreciate you, man. Really do. That being said, let's start off with Dell World. So Dell World this year was very interesting coming from a client's point of view. I just want to let everyone know that I am 100% client. That's all I do. All I do is end user support. So I'm in this knee deep every day. Yeah, my headphones are actually the new Alienware Pros, which I will say are the most comfortable headphones I've ever used. But just talking about headphones, Dell announced those new headphone lines at Dell World this year, and I've had an opportunity to use the 3000 series and the 7000 series. And I will tell you what, if you guys need mic noise cancellation, two-way noise cancellation, I mean, in your end and on the other side, and yeah, those 7000 series, I was sitting here clapping and my boss couldn't hear me clapping, and they could still hear me talk. They do a phenomenal job. And some of that audio tech is actually built into these Alienware Pros as well. So it's actually really kind of cool, some stuff that Dell and Alienware are doing with audio tech. Which also kind of makes me pivot over to the other really big announcement that Dell did this year for clients, was the AI PCs. And I know that Dhiren has talked a lot about that, but I want to kind of come from the tech guy in the trenches angle with the AI PCs. And one thing that I think everybody misunderstands is that, when we say AI PCs, we're not necessarily talking about Copilot. We're not necessarily talking about ChatGPT. So if you're not using those tools, that's not what the main use case that I would recommend these devices for. Well, something that I'd want you guys to consider in your environment is the users, and we all have them, who complain that when I'm in a video call, my PC just bogs down. Like I can't do any work or anything when I'm on a video call. That's where these AI PCs are going to shine, is because as you offload the AI functions from Zoom, from Teams, from things like Support Assist that's utilizing AI, when you offload that onto the NPU, it allows the CPU to continue doing real work for the applications that require the CPU usage. So it's not necessarily that you have to use that these things are needed for Copilot or anything like that. It's that it's going to offload those functions on the PC and provide a better user experience overall. And for a lot of your travel people who need all-day battery life, it's phenomenal. And so consider that as a use case for AI PCs. Is they're designed for those types of functions to provide a better user experience. And those folks who are complaining that I never have enough battery life, and we all have them. I'm not making this up. You know who they are. And the folks who if they live in the cloud and they use Office and that's all that they do, and they're doing video calls and that's all that they do, then an AI PC is a great option for them, because it's going to utilize those functions way better and provide them better user experience. So just something to think about. It's not that you have to have Copilot, or it's not that you have to have chat GPT in your environment. That's not the goal. The goal is to create a better overall user experience for your users. And going back to the headphones, Dell's using AI within the headphones. The one thing that you can use Dell's headphones on another brand of computer that's a fruit. I'm just gonna say that, and you get the same mic cancellation because that AI is in the headphones. So, and it does a really good job. I've done it. I've used it. I've experienced it. So again, Dell's done a great job with those headphones. But those were the two big takeaways from Dell this year. We had a round table about AI PCs that had a lot of good discussion with we had some ISG guys there, we had some client guys there, all discussing about it when Dell made that announcement. And there's, it's all new, it's all fresh. We've had a couple months to digest it now, but back then it was just like, okay, what does this mean? What are these devices are going to do? And stuff like that. And there's still that ongoing confusion. So I think having that discussion is really good. So I hope I kind of cleared that up a little bit. But from a client guy's perspective, that's what I would recommend AI PCs for. It's for those users, primarily. So, but yeah, I had a great time. It was very informative. Dell did a great job, great announcements. Darren and I were talking about the new backpacks that came out. That's another good design. They're hitting it out of the ballpark from a peripherals point of view right now. They really are.
Thank you, Todd. Really appreciate it. I mean, Keith, Travis, from your perspectives, do you guys have anything else to add about Dell Tech World, the announcements this year? A little bit about the DTUC party. I mean, I don't want to toot our own horn, but I think we had the party of the year this year. And hopefully we can build upon that going forward.
Yeah, I'd like to say we really did hit it out of the park for the party this year. Had a lot of turnout, a lot of great conversations that were happening, and it was one of the highlights for me. One of the more relaxing evenings I've had, that you just get to talk, you get to play with stuff, you get to do the touch feel, you got to actually see what's going on, and there's just a lot of great conversations that happened for me at that party.
Yeah, I agree with you. Our reception was great. Just being able to network and collaborate with others, and not such a formal conference room format. It's just easy to sit down, have a drink, and talk about some what's going on, whether it was tech or non-tech or that kind of thing. I also at Dell Tech World, I participated in a few of the what they called brain dates, where you could just basically create a topic and set up just kind of a meeting, and anyone could join there from the that was attending there. So you could go to this list and see, here's this long list of meeting times and what subjects they were talking about. So we did a couple of those. Just be able to sit down with just whoever showed up and just kind of chatting out some of the challenges or what we're seeing. So that was that was a good experience.
Awesome. Thank you. I mean, yeah, Todd, you gave me another avenue to do a shameless plug for DTUC and the Trusted Testers, but that AI roundtable that I know you were all a part of, that was through the Trusted Tester community. So if you are interested in becoming a Trusted Tester, go to dtuc.com. You can sign up. We've got application opportunities. You do get to become under NDA with Dell Technologies, so you can hear the latest and greatest, provide direct feedback on what's coming out. So Trusted Tester is just a great opportunity, and that's where that opportunity came from at Dell Tech World, which has clearly made waves in this kind of AI realm and the direction Dell took with it. So I believe there was a lot of value that came out of there, and those studies are going nonstop. I mean, Travis, I know you were mentioning one when we were hopping on this call that you're currently on. Keith, I believe you're on that too, but just another shameless plug. I'm not afraid it's the last webinar of the year, so might as well get all out that I can. But shifting gears away from Dell Tech World, and we'll go in reverse order this time. So Travis, you'll be up first. We did do some local meetups. So this year we did 3 local meetups, one in Toronto, one in Atlanta, and one in Orlando. If you live in or around those areas, we should be coming back next year. We're hoping to add a lot more to the plate. We like to partner with the Dell Tech Forums, so that's what we were able to do in Toronto. But Travis, since you were up first, we're going to start with your Atlanta local meetup. I personally was not able to be at that one, so just tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so this year we met at one of the local breweries. We just had a little local meetup. The Dell Tech bus was there, so it had a lot of these peripherals on board, monitors, keyboards, silent keyboards, all these kind of things like that that Darren was talking about earlier. And you could put your hands on them, touch them, play with them. So that's a good opportunity. At our I guess the event part of it, we Dell presented some of their newer laptops and kind of went over those use cases for the AI laptops and did a great job of explaining how the 14th gen Intel processors have the NPU integration and talking about that 40 tops that Microsoft is requiring and how it's going to help um, deliver what you need, the performance you need. And aside from what we know is the true AI applications like Copilot and things like that, how it's also using AI in the background to improve the battery life and performance overall. So there was some good content that came out of it. We also had time to sit down and just chit chat what's going on. Again, another networking social opportunity. So those are always great to get out of the office. And I'm one of them that has returned to the office. So anytime I can get out of the office now, those are always great. We got to get everybody else that's still working from home, get out of your home and get involved in the community. That's important. We'd like to see it at a local event, and we look forward to what 2025 has.
Awesome. Thank you, Travis. I did see a comment in there from Michael asking if there are any meetups planned in Europe. Stay tuned. That is something we want to get on our radar. We do have some people in EMEA that we could potentially make that happen, but that is a topic in conversation, planning for the year ahead. So stay tuned on that one. But Keith, let's transition over to you.
Yep.
Right, we had the Dell Tech Forum and the DTUC local meetup in Toronto, which I had a great time at both. I was able to be there. Dhiren, I know you were able to speak at that. So if you guys kind of want to tag team talking about Toronto a little bit, that'd be awesome.
Well, you gotta love Toronto. It's always the party city to be at. It was actually a great user group meeting. I think we had a lot of great conversations happening. A lot of people registered for it, so it was a good feeling to be there and enjoy it. It kind of really did a nice transition from the meeting the night before to the Dell Tech Forum, which was a great way to continue that conversation. And it was funny. It was neat to see a lot of the same people from the night before at there and just continue that conversation in that social way. And speaking of what Travis said, I never stopped working in the office. So anytime I get a chance to take off to go see things, to go do and talk to other people out there, it's always a great event. Darren, you presented a great thing there. You showed a lot of stuff. And it's just nice to see. I like to call the Tech Forum a nice mini Dell world where you get to talk again to a whole bunch of people, see the profile of what Dell does have to offer everywhere from what the end users use to the servers, and just get a great conversation coming. And in Canada, we had a Canadian astronaut speak out, which was great to see, and that was probably one of the best parts of the session for me. And Darren, I'm not sure what was your highlight for it?
Yeah, I'd probably say Dido exactly to everything you said there, right? But for real, it was nice seeing some of the community face to face at our Toronto meetup event. Obviously, we're gonna hopefully do this again and bring more people and get more people on site and excited. But I think you highlighted a key thing, right? It was perfectly placed where Dell Tech Forum was the next day. So it was basically a Dell week where you had the meetup and then you had the forum. I had the pleasure of speaking multiple sessions at the forum, worked the expo floor. So I did see some familiar faces, to your point. So a lot of the same kind of repetitive stuff. But Keith, I know you were off the hook this year. And what I mean by that is, and he's going to start laughing, but Keith, very good partner of us, Nature Fresh Farms, does a ton of work with us. And we have such a deep partnership. In previous years, he's brought a mini farm to the expo floor. You're able to see, some of the produce that's being grown. I've had tomatoes, I've had strawberries, I think, in the past a couple of years. Maybe for those of you that have been into Dell Tech World. I've seen that too. But I know he had a well-deserved year off. But I'm sure they're starting some kind of conversations with him for the future. But big shout out to you, Keith, and what we were able to do here in Toronto.
Yeah, and it's always been a great partnership for us too, because it has leveraged us, and we use it everywhere from the peripherals in the farm to the servers at the core. It's made us a stronger company, and I like to take both that from our community. Like, it helps me understand, especially when I talk to Todd there now. He's so engaged with those customers that his clients that he deals with. It always gives me a great vision again, because sometimes I'm not dealing with them as much, but that community helps me re-understand what they're looking for and how to use the new technologies.
Awesome. Thank you both. And I'll do a shameless plug for Toronto. So I've been to Toronto a couple of times, but I had to ask the locals where to eat. Oh my goodness. It was some of the best Thai food that I have had in my entire life. It was a little spicy, but I couldn't stop eating it. It was so good. So if you're there, I mean, ask Dhiren, ask Keith, because there's some great food in Toronto.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, last but not least, Todd, let's hear about Orlando and that super cool location, in my opinion. I was able to be there. No offense to Toronto and Atlanta, but I think that garage was one of the coolest locations I've ever been for an in-person event. That was pretty awesome. So, Todd, not to steal your thunder, but tell us a little bit about that meetup.
Yeah, that was a very interesting interview. So to explain what this place is, guys, it's a car garage by day, and by night it's a social meetup place. And the guy builds cars, he works on cars. He's got a bunch of like Ferraris and stuff like that he's working on in there. But then he's also got a bar off to the side, and he's got seating places, like different cutouts and different places to sit down and stuff like that. And so you can walk around, you can look at the cars that he's restoring and everything. He's got a hoist in there with the head up there, so you can see what he's doing there. And he's got all cleaned up for the event and everything. But it's very unique. If you're a car guy, it was really awesome. And so it was very unique. I've never been to a venue like that, and it was really good to see everybody there. You guys were there. Really cool to get to know you and just to get to meet people locally. DTUC has done a really good job. We've done a really good job with our online presence. It's really good to be out in the trenches with everybody and networking and bouncing ideas off everyone, which is what a community should be and should do. And so it was really cool. I do have a question for everybody though before we go. We have just a minute, and that is, we've got 89 people here. If you've attended a webinar this year, if you've watched a webinar this year and something stuck out that you learned, the webinar that you appreciated that we did, just put it in chat. Let us know what you thought we did well this year. A particular webinar that stuck out to you, or something that had a really good takeaway from what we did this year at the end of the year, just so we can just leave out on a good note with everybody. Just let us know what we're doing right. And we always appreciate all your guys' feedback. This community is for you. We're about you, and we want to make it the best that we can. I really appreciate everybody attending. I really appreciate all your feedback throughout the course of the year.
Thank you, Todd. Appreciate that. I mean, yeah, Kevin, thanks for that compliment. How down to earth these sessions are. I mean, that's what we're here for. Our last bit in DTUC is community, and that's exactly what we want to be. We want to be a community for everybody, and that's what we're striving for. So, right, we're not here to market and pitch stuff to you. We are just, here for the open and honest communication, conversation, learning sessions. That's our entire goal of DTUC. So I'm glad that's exactly what you guys are feeling. But you can hurt my feelings as well. I know you've heard a lot of my voice. I'm the host. You can say we need a new host. We're tired of hearing Jack. If that's what you want to do, that's fine.
You're not going anywhere, Jack.
Yeah, you're stuck. Sorry.
I put it in the chat. I like to hear the areas of improvement too, right? And 90 people or so, I'm sure there's got to be something that there is an area of improvement or some type of feedback that we can take offline and go look at. I know we got some good product feedback from Brady, and I'm putting him on the spot just because it was pretty good feedback there. You know, I've heard ergonomics before, I've heard trackballs. So it's feedback will continue to push up the chain there. And it's through communities like this where we get to see some of the transparent feedback that our customers are seeing. And when we look into calendar year 25, we're listening to a lot of our customers, and I'll kind of just put it right there, and we'll keep moving on. Back to you, Jack.
Thank you, Dhiren. Yeah, I mean, I think Kevin's directly asking you on this one, Dhiren. I hope we are helping. So, I mean, you can attest more than most that the feedback given in these forums, in these areas, go directly back, and differences are made.
Yep, I interface directly with our product groups. I sit on our sales advisory board. Some folks maybe in the community have been part of our customer advisory councils in the past. Definitely based on, you know, purchasing power and size of your organization can influence, you know, admission into, you know, that type of feedback mechanism. But trusted tester, right? A lot of you get gear, and I've kind of talked about that earlier, but how we do appreciate that. It doesn't fall on deaf ears. And, you know, when we get NDAs signed with, you know, a lot of your Dell reps, we can go through some of the things that are happening from a futures standpoint. And you'll be excited to see some of that.
Yep. Thank you, Dhiren. I mean, with that, I'm not seeing too much more activity in the chat. Todd, you are exactly right. We do really appreciate all the honest feedback. If there's anything you don't want to put in here, there is that survey at the end. But I mean, this is it for 2024, everybody. It's been a fantastic year. I really appreciate all your help. I mean, Todd, Travis, Keith, Dhiren, right? I feel like we come to you guys a lot to do these presentations. Dhiren, there's been a lot of praise for you in this chat. People love your presentations. You're fantastic. Todd plugged your YouTube channel. I mean, it's just, we have a great time here at DTUC. That's what we want to keep going with. So it's been an awesome 2024. We've been able to come into our own as we launched DTUC in 2023. So 2024 was a big stepping stone for us. So we really appreciate the community, you know, working with us in all of our website transitions, in everything that's yet to come. So we really appreciate everybody here on the call. But, you know, Todd, Travis, Keith, and Dhiren, I'm going to give a special shout out to all of you, because right, without your participation and input as our advisory council and from within Dell, we wouldn't be able to do as much as we do and mean as much to the community. So truly, thanks to everybody here, but in particular you four. We really, really appreciate it.
No, it's a real honor to be here and to work with the team and work with the group and just be part of it. It really is.
Yeah, it's great to be part of the Dhiren show today. That's one of my highlights of the year now.
Get less of it, no problem. Just put it in the chat.
Yeah. But we look forward to 2025 and being able to take this group to a higher level and provide better, more engaging content for everyone. So we look forward to that, and looking forward to growing the community.
Absolutely.
Thanks again, guys. It's a great community and a great group to be with. I've never been to an event where I haven't been able to find somebody new and somebody different that's been a part of the community to get to talk and have a new conversation. And like Dhiren said, in a great different way and different perspective, and even great ideas of how to use something. So it's always great to be a part of that.
Yeah, thanks team. Greatly appreciate it. Obviously the ongoing partnership with, you know, Keith, Travis, Todd, Jack, of course, kind of table stakes there. But yeah, let's close out the year pretty strong. I'm glad we're ending on time. And yeah, back to you, Jack, for closing remarks, and have a great day, everyone.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thanks, everyone. This recording will be available. We'll get it up hopefully by the end of the week. But yeah, happy holidays to everyone. Thank you for being here. We'll get all those resources out as we always do, and keep an eye on your emails for exciting announcements for 2025. So we hope to see you all soon. Stay safe. Happy holidays. Thanks, everyone.